The voicemail came at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was sitting in my apartment in Chicago, finally settled after a brutal 12-hour shift at the hospital where I worked as an ER nurse. My phone buzzed with a notification I'd been dreading all week. One new voicemail from Mom. I stared at it for a long moment before pressing play. I knew it wouldn't be good. It never was when Mom called this late. Her voice came through, sharp and cold. "Jordan, I've had enough. Your father and I have discussed this, and we're done. Done with your disrespect, done with your attitude, done with you choosing your career over family. You missed Thanksgiving. You missed your brother's engagement party. You're too busy for us, so we're done being there for you." I closed my eyes. Here we go again. We don't want you at Christmas. We don't want you calling. We don't want your excuses about saving lives and emergency shifts. Your brother is getting married in 6 months, and frankly, we don't even want you there. You've made your choice. So here's ours. Don't ever come back. You're not part of this family anymore. The voicemail ended with a sharp click. I sat there in the silence of my apartment, my hands trembling. Not part of the family anymore. Because I'd missed Thanksgiving, a shift I'd taken so a colleague could be with her dying mother. Because I'd missed the engagement party, a day I'd spent doing CPR on a 6-year-old who'd nearly drowned. My phone showed 3 previous missed calls from Mom that evening. I hadn't answered because I was literally elbow deep in a trauma case, trying to save a teenager's life after a car accident. But none of that mattered to them. It never did. I was the disappointment. The black sheep. The daughter who chose strangers over family. My older brother, Derek, was the golden child, corporate lawyer, engaged to a doctor, living in their dream version of success. I was just the nurse who worked too much and didn't show up to parties. I typed out a text message, "Got your voicemail. I understand. I won't bother you anymore." I hit send at 11:52 p.m. Then I did something I should have done years ago. I blocked their numbers. All of them. Mom, Dad, Derek, even my aunt who always sided with them. I was done begging for their understanding. Done apologizing for saving lives. Done feeling guilty for having a career I loved. If they wanted me gone, fine. I was gone. I took a sleeping pill and went to bed, my phone on silent. I had no idea what was happening while I slept. I had no idea that at 12:47 a.m., my brother's fiancée, Claire, the doctor Mom loved so much, would go into premature labor at 28 weeks. I had no idea that by 1:33 a.m., she'd be rushed to the hospital with life-threatening complications. I had no idea that by 2:15 a.m., my mother would be frantically Googling high-risk pregnancy specialist Chicago and finding my name listed as one of the top neonatal emergency nurses in the region. I had no idea that by 3:08 a.m., the hospital would call my parents and say, "We need Jordan. She's the best we have for cases like this. Is there any way you can contact her?" And I had no idea that by 3:30 a.m., my phone, sitting on silent, with all their numbers blocked, was starting to fill with missed calls I'd never hear. Because I was sleeping peacefully for the first time in months. Free from their guilt. Free from their judgment. Free from trying to prove I was enough. When my alarm went off at 6 a.m. for my morning shift, I had no idea my entire family was losing their minds. I had no idea they'd been calling for hours. I had no idea that the voicemail that said, "Don't ever come back," would become the biggest regret of my mother's life. I just knew that for the first time in years, I'd slept through the night without anxiety. And that feeling? That peace? I wasn't giving it up for anyone. Not even for them. My alarm chimed at 6 a.m. sharp, that annoying iPhone default tone I'd been meaning to change for months. I stretched, feeling surprisingly rested. 8 solid hours. When was the last time that happened? I grabbed my phone to shut off the alarm and froze. 46 missed calls. 89 text messages. 12 voicemails. All from numbers I didn't recognize because I'd blocked the ones I knew. My stomach dropped. Something was wrong. I quickly scrolled through the unfamiliar numbers. They'd used different phones. The hospital main line. Derek's work phone. Even numbers I didn't recognize at all, probably friends or relatives calling on their behalf. The voicemail started at 3:30 a.m. and didn't stop until 5:47 a.m. I pressed play on the first one from an unknown number at 3:30 a.m. Mom's voice, but different, panicked, desperate. Jordan, please, if you get this, Claire is in the hospital. She's having the baby. It's too early. Something's wrong. They need you. They said you're the best for this. Please, baby, please call us back. My professional instincts kicked in immediately. Premature labor I did the math, 28 weeks. Claire was a doctor. She'd know the risks. This was serious. I listened to the next voicemail. Dad, at 4:12 a.m. Jordan, sweetheart, I know your mother said terrible things. I know we've been unfair. But Claire might die. The baby might die. The doctors here are asking for you specifically. Please. We're at Northwestern Memorial. Please. Then Derek, at 4:38 a.m., his voice breaking. Jordy, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. For not standing up for you. For letting them treat you like this. But Claire, she's coding. They're doing everything they can. The baby's in distress. They said you're trained for exactly this kind of emergency. Please. I'm begging you. I can't lose them both. My hands were shaking now. I looked at the time, 6:04 a.m. I was supposed to be at work at 7 a.m. At Northwestern Memorial, where Claire was apparently dying. I should have felt vindicated. I should have felt satisfied that they needed me after spending years making me feel worthless. But all I felt was the familiar pull of duty, the same instinct that made me become a nurse in the first place. Lives over pride. Always. I threw on my scrubs, grabbed my badge, and ran. The 20-minute drive to Northwestern took 12 minutes. I didn't care about the speed limit. I burst through the ER entrance at 6:34 a.m., my badge already out. Jordan Martinez, neonatal emergency specialist. I got a call about a critical premature labor case. The attending's face flooded with relief. Thank God. Room 4, NICU crisis team is already there. Mother's stable now, but we've got fetal distress, cord prolapse, mother's blood pressure through the roof. We need to deliver now, but the baby's at 28 weeks. I'm on it. I ran down the hallway, my training taking over. Cord prolapse meant the umbilical cord had slipped into the birth canal before the baby, potentially cutting off oxygen. At 28 weeks, every second counted. I didn't think about mom's voicemail. I didn't think about being disowned. I didn't think about the 46 missed calls. I thought about a baby who needed me. A mother who needed me. A family who'd taken me for granted, but whose lives depended on skills I'd spent 10 years perfecting. I pushed open the door to room 4. The scene was controlled chaos, monitors beeping, medical teams surrounding the bed, and there was Claire, pale and terrified, Derek holding her hand with tears streaming down his face. Mom and Dad were in the corner, Mom's face buried in Dad's chest. They all turned when I entered. Mom gasped. Jordan. Not now, I said firmly, pulling on gloves. I'm here for Claire and the baby. We'll talk later. I moved to Claire's bedside, my voice calm and professional. Claire, I'm Jordan. I know you're scared. I'm going to make sure you and your baby get through this. Do you trust me? She nodded, tears running down her face. I'm so sorry. Save your energy. Let's deliver this baby. For the next hour, nothing else existed except the medical emergency in front of me. And when that baby, a tiny, fragile 2-pound girl, took her first breath at 7:42 a.m., the room erupted in tears. I'd saved them both. But walking out of that delivery room, I knew something had changed. They'd called me back not because they loved me. They'd called because they needed me. And I was done pretending that was the same thing. After stabilizing Claire and the baby, who we'd named Baby Girl Morrison until they could decide on a name, I finally allowed myself to step into the family waiting room. It was 9:23 a.m. I'd been working for nearly 3 hours straight. Mom, Dad, and Derek all stood up the moment I entered. They looked like they'd aged 10 years overnight. Jordan, Mom started, moving toward me with open arms. I held up my hand. Stop. She froze. Claire is stable. The baby is in the NICU. She's 2 pounds, 3 ounces. She's breathing with assistance, but her vitals are strong. The next 72 hours are critical, but I'm cautiously optimistic. Thank God, Derek breathed. Thank you. Thank you so much. I didn't do it for you, I said quietly. I did it because it's my job. Because that baby deserves a chance. Because Claire deserves to live. That's what I do. That's what I've always done. Save lives. Even when it means missing parties. Even when it means disappointing you. The room went silent. Mom's eyes filled with tears. Jordan, sweetie, about last night. You mean about 11 hours ago? When you called me at 11:47 p.m. to tell me I was no longer part of this family. When you told me not to ever come back. Dad flinched. Derek looked at the floor. I have the voicemail saved, I continued. Would you like me to play it? Because I remember every word. You've made your choice. So here's ours. Don't ever come back. You're not part of this family anymore. I was angry, Mom whispered. I was hurt that you missed Thanksgiving. I took a shift so my coworker could be with her dying mother. She passed away 2 days later. I held her family together while they said goodbye. And the engagement party. I did CPR on a 6-year-old for 47 minutes. He lived, Mom. He went home to his parents 3 days ago. Should I have let him die so I could come eat cake and take pictures? That's not fair, Derek said quietly. Fair? I laughed, a bitter sound. You want to talk about fair? You've had Mom and Dad's approval your entire life. Every achievement celebrated, every choice supported. I became a nurse, a career that saves lives, and I'm treated like a failure because I'm not a lawyer or a doctor. Because I work holidays. Because I prioritize strangers who are dying over family brunches. We just wanted you there, Mom said, crying now. We wanted our daughter. No, you wanted the daughter who fits your image. The one who shows up for photos and family events. The one who makes you look good. But the daughter I actually am, the one who runs toward emergencies, who misses sleep to save lives, who sacrifices her own life to help others, that daughter has never been good enough for you. The silence was deafening. Until 3 hours ago, I continued, my voice breaking now despite my efforts to stay calm. Until you needed me. Until my skills suddenly mattered because they affected you directly. You called 46 times. 46. After telling me to never come back. We were desperate, Dad finally spoke. Claire was dying. The baby. And I came. Because unlike you, I don't turn my back on people who need help. Even people who've spent years making me feel worthless. Jordan, please, Mom reached for me again. I saved Claire's life today. I saved your granddaughter's life. I did my job. But that doesn't erase what you said. That doesn't undo years of making me feel like my career, my calling, doesn't matter. We're sorry, Derek said, his voice thick with emotion. We're so sorry. Sorry because you almost lost Claire? Or sorry because you've treated me like garbage for years? He couldn't answer. I took a deep breath. I need time. I need space. I'll continue to oversee Claire and the baby's care because that's my professional responsibility. But outside of that, I don't know if I can forgive this. I don't know if we can come back from this. Please don't shut us out, Mom begged. That's funny, I said softly. That's the exact thing you did to me. Last night. At 11:47 p.m. I walked toward the door, then paused. The baby is beautiful, by the way. She has Derek's nose. Claire will be able to hold her in a few days, once she's stronger. Will you be there? Mom asked. When Claire wakes up. I'll be there as her nurse. Whether I'm there as your daughter. That's something you'll have to earn back. And I left them sitting in that waiting room with their guilt. Because for the first time in my life, I wasn't the one apologizing. They were. For the next 5 days, I managed Claire and baby girl Morrison's care with professional precision. Claire was recovering well, though the emotional trauma of the emergency delivery had left her shaken. The baby, they'd finally named her Sophie, was a fighter. 2 pounds, 3 ounces of pure determination. My family was there constantly. Mom and Dad camped out in the waiting room. Derek barely left Claire's side. And they watched me work. They watched me check Sophie's vitals every 2 hours. They watched me hold Claire's hand when she cried about not being able to hold her daughter yet. They watched me stay 3 hours past my shift to sit with Sophie when her oxygen levels dropped. They watched me be the person I'd always been, the one who showed up, who cared, who sacrificed. The person they'd called worthless 5 days ago. On day 3, Claire asked to speak with me privately. I need to say something, she started, her voice still weak. I knew about the voicemail. I tensed. What? I was there. At your parents' house. Before I went into labor. Your mom was furious that you'd missed the engagement party. She was on the phone with Derek, saying you were selfish, that you only cared about work. She was drafting that voicemail in her head out loud. I heard the whole thing. My chest tightened. And I didn't say anything, Claire continued, tears forming. I didn't defend you. I just nodded along because I wanted to fit in with Derek's family. I wanted them to like me. And in doing that, I let them tear you apart. Claire. When I went into labor, when everything went wrong, do you know what I thought? I thought, Jordan will never come. Not after what we did to her. I thought I was going to die because I'd helped push away the one person who could save me. She was sobbing now. But you came anyway. You saved my life. You saved Sophie's life. Even after we destroyed you, you still showed up. I sat down beside her bed. I didn't come for them. I came for you. For Sophie. Because that's who I am. I know. And that's what makes this so much worse. You're the best person in your family, and they treat you the worst. I didn't know what to say to that. Derek is ashamed, Claire said quietly. He told me last night that he's spent his whole life watching your parents tear you down and never once stood up for you. He said he was too comfortable being the favorite to risk losing it by defending you. That sounds like Derek. He wants to change. He wants to make this right. They all do. Wanting to change and actually changing are different things. I know, she nodded. That's why I'm telling you this. Don't forgive them just because of me and Sophie. Don't let guilt pull you back into a family that doesn't value you. You deserve better than that. Coming from you, that means a lot. I mean it. And Jordan? Thank you. For everything. For saving us. For being better than we deserved. On day 5, Dr. Richards, the hospital's chief of staff, called me into his office. I heard what happened with the Morrison case, he said. The family emergency. The dramatic save. I waited, unsure where this was going. I also heard that you came in on your day off, after being essentially disowned by your family, and worked a 3-hour critical delivery that saved 2 lives. It was my job. It was extraordinary. And it's exactly why I want to offer you the position of lead neonatal emergency specialist. It comes with a significant raise, your own team, and the authority to shape our entire program. I stared at him. Are you serious? You're the best we have, Jordan. Everyone knows it. Including, apparently, your family now. The irony wasn't lost on me. The career my family had dismissed as just nursing had not only saved them but was now launching me into a position of significant authority and respect. I accept, I said. Good. You start next month. Take the rest of this week off. You've earned it. I walked out of his office feeling something I hadn't felt in years, pride. Not because my family finally needed me, but because I'd proven to myself that my worth wasn't determined by their approval. And that was the most liberating feeling in the world. On day 7, Sophie was strong enough to be held by her mother for the first time. I arranged it carefully, making sure all the monitors were positioned correctly, that Claire was comfortable, that Sophie's oxygen levels were stable. When I placed that tiny baby in Claire's arms, the entire room went silent. Mom and Dad stood in the corner, tears streaming down their faces. Derek was recording it on his phone, his hands shaking. She's perfect, Claire whispered. She's absolutely perfect. She is, I agreed. And she's a fighter. Just like her mom. After a few precious minutes, I helped Claire place Sophie back in the isolette. The family needed some private time together. Jordan, wait, Mom said as I moved to leave. Please. Can we talk? I looked at my watch. My shift was over. I was technically off the clock. Okay, I said. But not here. Sophie needs rest. We moved to a private consultation room down the hall. All 4 of them, Mom, Dad, Derek, and even Claire, who insisted on coming despite still being weak. We've been doing a lot of talking, Dad started. A lot of thinking. We were wrong, Derek said bluntly. About everything. For years. I spent the last week watching you work, Mom said, her voice thick with emotion. Really watching. I saw you with Sophie, the way you check her vitals like she's your own child. The way you hold Claire's hand when she's scared. The way you stayed late 3 nights in a row because you were worried about Sophie's oxygen levels. She took a shaky breath. I saw you doing what you've always done, putting others first, sacrificing your time, your energy, your life, to help people. And I realized something that makes me sick to my stomach. I've spent years punishing you for being the kind of person every parent should be proud of. We wanted you at family events, Dad said. But we never asked what you were doing instead. We never asked about the lives you were saving. We never celebrated your achievements the way we celebrated Derek's. I got praised for winning cases and making money, Derek added. You got criticized for saving lives. How messed up is that? I felt tears building but refused to let them fall. The voicemail I left, Mom continued, was the worst thing I've ever done. And the fact that you came anyway, that you saved Claire and Sophie after I told you to never come back, it's more than I deserve. More than any of us deserve. We can't take back what we said, Dad said. We can't undo years of making you feel like you weren't good enough. But we can do better. We can be better. If you'll give us the chance. I looked at each of them. I saw genuine remorse. Genuine pain. Genuine desire to change. But I also saw something else, a pattern. Years of taking me for granted. Years of expecting me to show up while they treated me like an afterthought. I need you to understand something, I said quietly. What changed wasn't me. I've always been this person, dedicated, compassionate, hardworking. What changed was that you finally needed me. And that's not the same as respecting me. You're right, Claire said. But maybe needing you showed us what we've been too blind to see all along. Maybe, I acknowledged. But here's the thing, I don't need your approval anymore. I've spent my whole life trying to earn it. Trying to prove I was enough. And I finally realized I am enough. My patients know it. My colleagues know it. The hospital just made me lead neonatal specialist because they know it. The only people who didn't know it were you. And now we do, Derek said. We know it. We see it. We're sorry it took almost losing everything to open our eyes. I took a deep breath. I'm not saying I forgive you. Not yet. That's going to take time. But I'm willing to try. I'm willing to see if you can actually change. If you can respect my career, my choices, my life. Not just when you need me, but always. We will, Mom promised. We swear we will. Prove it, I said simply. Don't tell me. Show me. 3 months later, I got a text from Mom at 2 a.m. I know you're working the night shift. Just wanted to say I'm proud of you. Not because we need you. Just because of who you are. Love you. It was the first time she'd ever sent a message like that. I saved it. 6 months later, at Sophie's homecoming party, Dad pulled me aside. You know what I realized, he said. You didn't just save Sophie's life that day. You saved this entire family. You showed us what actually matters. Not careers or money or status. But showing up. Being there. Loving people even when they don't deserve it. That's what family should be, I said. Yeah, he agreed. It took us way too long to figure that out. A year later, at Sophie's first birthday party, Derek raised his glass for a toast. To my sister Jordan, he said, his voice proud. The best nurse, the best aunt, and frankly, the best person in this family. We don't deserve you. But we're grateful every day that you chose to give us another chance. Everyone clinked glasses. And Mom, sitting across from me with Sophie on her lap, mouthed the words, thank you. Not for saving Claire. Not for saving Sophie. But for saving us. For giving us the chance to become the family I'd always deserved.